Washington State going to throw out the Handlock, and UC Santa Cruz is going to throw out the Patron Warrior.
The worst matchup they could run into in this case. I mean, it used to be the case that Patron with Warsong Commander could get wins, but now when you're spawning Patrons, they're sitting ducks for Hellfire or Shadow Flame.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing you can do about it. So you really need to get those Shredders out, and they need to not be answered, and that's very difficult to get.
Yeah. Very true. And
it's going to be a bit rough. I mean, they need to find the executes, as always.
Yeah, but without being able to deal that damage, you know, in a single turn.
Right,
like
exactly.
20 plus damage in a single turn.
It's pretty difficult. You don't get the burst. You have to grind them down, literally.
Which is really tough to do. You have to rely a lot more on your bigger threats that you added to the deck post Warsong Commander change. And Big Game Hunter actually is a good addition into the deck, especially now with a lot of Secret Paladins. You're almost always going to get value with either Mysterious Challenger or Dr. Boom. So that's a good sort of tech card to throw in. And it will get value in this matchup.
And they do have, you know, they do run their own Dr. Boom in this deck. So they do run Grom as well. You know, the deck has gone back to a bit more of a, it has some, kind of like the Zoo deck, where it plays for tempo. It also has the higher curve. So it's got kind of the synergy there in the mid game with Patrons, but that's not all it relies on. It's one of the tools.
Yeah. Only one. Look at the guy on the right in Washington State. He was giving us that bashful look through his jacket sleeve.
Through the jacket sleeve? How do you do that?
Like, you know when you like sort of tuck your head in and be like, "Aw." Never mind. He stopped doing it right when you looked.
I like him to do that.
He had to be there.
Yeah. The one in the middle though is like, yeah, you know, these guys are chumps. We're gonna beat them, man.
We agreed on ties.
20 minutes, no rush. What is that Frolic doing there?
Yeah.
He's the one piloting everything. He's kind of talking, but I think at this point he's just reverberating his own opinion. Like, he's not really asking them for advice.
Yeah,
he knows what's up.
Yeah, these guys have played in the past, and they always have the same setup. The guy on the left is always wearing plaid. The guy in the middle is always wearing a suit. The guy on the right is always a wild card. And also, Ben's the guy in the middle. He's the one that has, he's the only legend player on the team.
He's the finance major, right? Or the business major? So.
He's the, business finance major. So he's the one that pilots every single week. And they also have dedicated roles as well. Tanner's the guy on the left. He always takes notes. You can see him. He usually has a notepad in the weeks that they play. And he makes sure that they're not missing anything big or keeps track of like tech cards. And Jin, the guy on the right, apparently he just likes Arena. That's his only note.
I like that guy.
He's just like, you know what? We have to fill out a roster. If they end up throwing a wild card at us where we have to play Arena, Jin's our guy.
But Walker Chill shows up. I know what's up. I've dealt with this before.
Yeah, exactly.
Repeatedly. Yeah, I can totally see that. All right. Well, this is kind of an interesting situation, though. I mean, Washington State's got the Drake, but if it attacks into the Frothing, it's just going to die to the Death Bite AoE. However, do you have another option? I feel like at this point you kind of have to go for it. Frothing is too dangerous to let live.
Yeah.
Kind of a clunky hand, though, for Washington State.
Yeah, that's for sure. They do have double Moltons, which can come in handy, but they don't have a big threat to play right now. They don't have a good turn 5 play because Inti-Kubot is not a great play to play, or not a great card to play this early in the game. They don't have something like another Twilight Drake or a Void Caller, which could pop on Mal'Ganis, or even Mountain Giant, or even something like a Sludge Belcher, if they tech that into their deck. So.
Alright, so the other Frothing, it's in the hand, but you would probably like to play the Acolyte here, I think. Looks like drawing and, you know, negating the card advantage that's going on is definitely something you might want to do. But the Frothing Cruel Task is also appealing. You know, you set up the Frothing to become a 3/4, you kill the Drake, and then you just have the AoE left over on Deathbite. And if the Frothing lives, I mean, you have the Slam, you have the Whirlwind, you have the AoE from Deathbite, and it's all basically pure value from then on.
Yeah, you might even be able to set up a lethal opportunity next turn if you draw into another Whirlwind effect or even something to buff up. So
I like that a lot. They tried to execute phase. Like, can we give it +2 attack?
Yeah, so next turn, automatically, they have 9 damage on board.
Yeah.
Well, with the Deathbite swing, it ends up being 11 damage, plus the Whirlwind effect ends up being 13 damage. So they're not really close, but they can draw into things that make that combo even deadlier.
Yeah, Washington
like
State
a
is going to be very scared. I wouldn't be surprised to see Healbot late a fall down here. He said it wasn't a very good mid-game play. But when you're just checking down a Frothing and you have no answer, it almost looks appealing.
Almost.
Well, what's your alternative? You tap and you overdraw. I mean, that's pretty good, right?
Sure.
You establish dominance. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't need those cards.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
value being 2 less health
Yeah.
over a random card in your deck. And yeah, Healbot's the only thing that really they can do other than play a Sunfree Protector, which is not very strong.
Oh, goodness. That's dangerous with the Acolyte, Inner Rage. Wait, do they have lethal?
All right, so it's 12 damage with just what's on board if they swing phase. With the Whirlwind, it ends up being 15 damage.
And then
With the Inner Rage, it's 18 damage. So not quite 30.
But if you play the Acolyte,
I think if you play the Acolyte, it adds only 2 damage.
You could find another Whirlwind.
Okay, if you play Acolyte and it ends up being 20 damage, even if you find another Whirlwind, that's still only 4 more damage. So it's still only 24 damage.
Would you pass on this though?
So
it's all about.
I would.
Yeah.
That's a scary thing to go for if you're in this situation.
You really don't want to damage your frothing. Its value is so high. You almost can't.
Yeah. The biggest thing here is you want to keep your Frothing Berserker out of Hellfire range.
Yeah, and this is why you would. If anything here, you might consider trading. He's going all in. Okay.
I like this because
a lot. The BGH says hello.
Say hello to my big gun.
I got the troll in my sights. It's never a beast, by the way. When's the last time you saw him actually have a beast in his sights?
Usually when you play King Crush, you just win the game.
Yeah.
Usually if you play Godzilla and you get him to enough tack to where he's BGH.
Exactly, you win the game.
You win the game. The Core Hound.
We've talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful card. Core Hound really needs to be nerfed to 4 health. Shredder needs more targets.
Yep. Bingo. How does the Shredder deal with the Core Hound? It doesn't.
I can imagine that. Alternate art for Shen Shieldmaster is just Taz Bingo. He's like this gambler.
Taz Bingo!
That'd be so good. Like this guy with a bingo card.
Yeah.
It'd be lovely. If they add achievements, this needs to happen.
You unlock Taz Bingo.
Kill 30 minions with Senjin, you just unlock Taz Bingo.
Yeah.
Like a top hat troll. Alright, so Acolyte of Pain here. Draws a card, but again, losing the Frothing I think was a really, really big deal. To the point where I guess there could have been an argument where you don't enrage your Acolyte last turn, just to make sure the Frothing stays low enough on health, on attack that is, and it doesn't die to anything at all.
I think they might have miscounted or got a little bit of ahead of themselves because I think that's what they were trying to do. They might have thought that it was going to end up at 7 health. Because it seemed like a very calculated play. Once they started to make the moves, they kept going with it. And now they're in a tough spot. Now, the one thing that we didn't talk about earlier in this matchup, where we said Handlock is pretty good, is the fact that Pigeon Warrior also has another win condition in the deck now with Grom Hellscream. So that can be something that comes as a surprise to the Handlock, where they might think that they're like out of range of certain combinations, if they're not with a card like Grom Hellscream. So.
The question is, will Washington State be cautious enough, right? Because Grom Hellscream will come as a surprise. They will play around it, of course. It's something you expect from Patron Warrior nowadays, especially after the setup and the Death Bite that's been kept that long. You have to expect that it's got to be sitting around.
Yeah.
And he's not going face, which means your Moltons are not going to be enabled. You have to find a way to taunt up, well enough that you're going to be protected from Grom, and possibly always scare your opponent to attack because Molten Giant's a possibility.
Yeah, very true.
It's a tricky turn to navigate because I feel on one end that you could just attack with BGH and play Dr. Boom.
Sure.
I mean, it just feels like a straight up play that almost rarely backfires, if ever.
Yeah, you give your opponent a lot of value out of
the Acolyte.
And if you don't play the Dr. Boom, I mean...
oh, wow. That's actually a very strong card here with Execute being played. With BGH and Lotheb and a trade. Whoa, that's scary. Do you attack Dr. Boom, use the Death's Bite? What is your play here? I think I could almost consider Grom. You attack Dr. Boom, you play Grom, and then attack Dr. Boom with your weapon. But nah, you just...
Usually Grom...
You lose if you do that. Never mind.
And you also want to be very conservative with your BGH in this matchup, because usually that's what allows you to push through later on in the game once Moltons come out, or something big with a taunt comes out. So I'd imagine they'll just play Grim Patrons here, and try and build up a big board and swing with the Death Bite. Maybe even they can use one Whirlwind.
Just to.
But where these boombots go could be a big deal. This
Well,
is
it
going to
will at
dictate
least
a
give
lot.
you a patron afterwards, like guaranteed, right?
Huh?
So, oh, whoa. Okay, dodge the bullet or the bomb.
Those things feel like bullets sometimes.
Whoa, the patron's gonna live. There's nothing to answer it on the Washington State's board. That, however, could pose a bit of a problem if it gets taunted up, which I guess it will one day. I'm not sure if you do it now, though.
Yeah.
You could go for Void Claw, Sun Fury, but it's kind of ridiculous.
You see Santa Cruz really needs to build up a board, though.
Yeah.
Because one patron is not very threatening. Even though you hate to leave it on the board, it's not something that you actively need to seek to remove.
Worry about.
Yeah, especially with a Shadow Flame in your hand, you can be pretty confident that even if they do use a lot of resources to propagate more patrons,
You'll be fine.
you'll be fine because you have Shadow Flame to fall back on.
But Life Tap Sun Fury's fine. I mean, it seems fairly reasonable here. I like it.
Yeah, you have so many taunts already in your hand with
Yeah.
Defender of Argus, second Sun Free Protector that you can go for something like that.
When the Giants get cheap, you can play them with anything anyway, so... As long as you keep the second Sun Fury for emergencies, of which there rarely are any. Oh wow, Dark Bomb gets picked up, never mind.
How convenient. Hello.
Alright, so Grom Hellscream, to me it looks fine, just because you can, you've already seen a BGH, and you can technically kill the Void Caller, get out something like Mal'Ganis and BGH right afterwards, maybe on the following turn something, or force a trade with Mal'Ganis.
Yeah. So you see Santa Cruz is trying to find a way where they can like set up a lethal, and the only possible way they'd be able to do this is if they play Armor Smith, because then if Washington State taps next turn,
Then they're down
they have
low
6
enough.
damage on board. They can yeah, they're down low enough, and
I like that.
it's a long shot because that assumes Washington State has no way to taunt up
But
or play anything in their hand where they don't need to tap.
right, it's a very lopsided matchup, however, so you have to take those opportunities where they present themselves.
Yeah.
As much as you don't want to make plays like these, you kind of have to go all in at some point. And there's a chance that they, misplay the turn. Maybe they're not going to taunt up. Maybe they have the option, but you don't look like you're going to push through for too much damage.
Yeah.
Being that there's no more frothing OTKs, some people are getting a bit too comfortable with Patron, and sometimes they're able to steal games off the Grom.
Yeah. Well, this is still pretty tough because without tapping, even with tapping, their plays are not very easy. Look at this. Like, what do they even play? They can play Jiraxis. They can play one big threat.
I mean, what about Sun Fury Defender? Maybe double taunt up. Never mind, he's going to kill the Armor Smith, but that opens up an Execute, which then leads to Whirlwind, possibly,
But they also have a chance to, get Mal'Ganis.
which is very bad.
Yeah.
But, wait, is that... Wait, that's... Oh, man, that's so close to lethal.
It's pretty close.
Because
but
that Fiery War Axe is the extra damage you need.
yeah,
next
but you
turn.
also have to take into account the fact that if Mal'Ganis comes out, if they execute on the Void Caller and the Mal'Ganis comes out, they're pretty much screwed because they just don't have a way to get through that second threat. And developing the Fire War Axe seems like something that they should definitely do this turn. That way they have an extra 3 damage to add on to the 10 they have from Grom the next turn.
And then potentially set up lethal. That is the perfect outcome, though, for Santa Cruz, because they have the BGH, where they couldn't answer Jiraxis. Now they can deal with this. End punch for a bit of damage.
Punch!
Yeah, that's the punch, right?
Yeah.
That is very good, because the Moltons are still way too expensive, and if there's ever been a window of opportunity that looks like it could be a win, this is it.
Yeah, so let's look at Washington State's next turn. They can Hellfire to clear this board, but they go down to 15.
Which means Grom with something like Cruel Taskmaster or Inner Rage would do it.
Yeah, they've seen one Cruel Taskmaster, and the refined patron lists, current patron lists, usually only run one Cruel Taskmaster.
Right.
Because they're trying to fit in either more combo pieces or more threats, and Cruel Taskmaster can be a clunky card that's not utilized for combos very much, so...
They're going to start with the Moral Coil, maybe find a Dark Bomb so they don't lose health as they maybe deal with this
This is
BGH.
such
Would you
an
ever
awkward
go
hand.
for like an Owl double Sun Fury turn? Like, is something ridiculous like that going to work? Would you think it would? Because right now, if they opt for the Giant, which I think is on their mind, then they lose, right?
No, they don't.
They're going to be
They're
like
one damage off
lethal.
from losing, yeah.
Right.
Which might be enough for them to, live.
That would Jiraxis in hand.
What-
It's possible.
Yeah,
It's been seen.
They
but
can
then-
play Molten Giant Jiraxis next turn. I like the Molten Giant. Now, have both inner rages been used?
Belcher is not quite, but that's a lot of damage.
One
going
damage off lethal.
in. My opponent has cards. But
They made that attack very quickly.
So, I mean, Grom Whirlwind Execute looks really sweet to me.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can afford to put your opponent at 1. That's really risky.
I mean, if you put them at 1 and they play Jiraxis, they don't beat GH or Grom, so you still win. Or it looks like you win. Right? I mean, how do they deal with Grom and heal up?
They can just play. They can. I mean, Draxus is like best case scenario for them. What if they play second Molten,
and
taunt it
Shadow
up,
Flame.
and then play anti-Q bot?
Yeah.
Like they clear your board and then play the second Molten anti-Q bot. Like that seems like an even worse situation.
Yeah. I mean, the second Molten and heal bot is really the scariest part.
Yeah.
Belcher is just a safe play because you're still setting up the lethal. It's like it's the age-old dilemma with Grom where you want to use it as a proactive, removal piece or threat, but when you throw it and you don't win, it feels like you lose every time, like Control Warrior used to do. So, they're like patrons. Again, Headlock is just the toughest matchup ever.
I think they might have made that BGH attack last turn pretty quickly. I would have thought about that a little bit more.
Maybe they already planned it out.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like they already knew what they were going in with.
But now this wall is going to be really tough for them to get through.
That's like 17 damage to go through. This Warlock has 31 health.
Effectively.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
So
One turn
close.
off.
That was almost... If that had been their last turn, they had it.
Yeah. Yep.
Belcher had to come in.
Yep.
Party poop.
Now, like, mousing over the Grom, like, why? Why do you do this? Yeah. Looks like they're going to have to play the Grom this turn just to try and clear some stuff off the board because that's really the only card that they have that does much of anything.
I mean, you have to use it as a removal piece against Headlock. It just feels absolutely horrible. They might be able to like keep it alive just by killing the Drake, right?
Yeah.
But how good is that, really?
They're completely out of resources. And then if an Owl comes down on this Grom next turn, they have no way to, push that extra damage. Their win conditions are sort of out the window.
And they have fire? I mean, that's enough. The Dark Bomb.
Yeah. Don't even need that. I mean, I don't know if they feel like using... Dark Bomb Hellfire is a lot of resources to take out these two cards, but I guess
Shadow Flame with this kind of works out.
Sure, yeah. What else are you going to Shadow Flame? You have Hellfire. Your opponent only has one card. They only have 2 next turn.
Dr. Boom comes out. That would be a crazy top deck for Santa Cruz.
Yes, it would.
Probably the only top deck that really gives them a chance to stay in the game, I want to say. Not quite, but that's a lot of damage still.
Just start swinging with Despite. I don't even know if that would be enough. Both Despite swings only puts them at 4. They're out of Despites. They have a Fireworks left in the deck.
You forget the boom bots triggering out of the death rattle for the death bite.
True,
That's a really big deal, right?
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of a long shot. They still have like half their deck remaining.
Harrison Jones. Out of nowhere.
Now Jiraxis. This is a pretty safe turn to play Jiraxis when UC Santa Cruz only has 1 card.
What could he really? What could he top deck that would just swing him back in the game?
I mean, Dr. Boom would be absolute best case scenario.
That is not it.
Yeah, I would have told you even before that turn. Armor Smith would probably be worst case scenario.
Okay. So that's the worst case scenario. I think so.
Yeah, both Enrages, both Whirlwinds are gone.
Yeah, you have nothing left to really do anything with it.
Execute, at least you have that peace of mind.
It is a minion for all that's worth. Maybe it'll matter. Maybe there's a case in which the 1 damage adds up. Because I feel like at this point, if he ever gets lethal, it's going to be a very close one, and the extra 1 damage may do something.
Yeah.
But, when I'm looking at the Sunfury Protector with the Infernals being spawned, it's going to be almost impossible for the Warrior to go through that. Like, just the extra Infernal taunts with no more removal. That's pretty much it, without Brawl. I'm thinking.
Is that what he says?
I don't know.
Oh, you're thinking. Yeah.
No, I'm not thinking. I never think. What is thinking?
Don't think, just do.
Yeah, sounds like a headache.
Yeah.
Hoot hoot. This card is, there was a time in Alpha when I used to play, like, Hearthstone, and the sound of the owl just gave me nightmares. Like, I had this friend who that was his avatar, and I hated it. To this day, this card.
Just an Iron Beak Owl?
Yeah. That's what it does.
Yep. Well, gonna get even deeper in the deck, too. The old homage of draw first.
Interestingly enough, though, I mean, he can wipe this Infernal and... Oh, wow. Wait. I want to say it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. But it's the only way he's ever going to get a win.
Yeah, and even then, they don't take out the
Infernal,
They don't take out the Sun Fury Protector.
They would
the weapon is still there.
Right.
All of their patrons die regardless.
Everyone, get in here!
Yeah, that's rough. If only they had 2 Inner Rages, that would make that turn a lot better. But as it stands, this board is going to get cleaned up pretty nicely. I mean, Hellfire won't even have to be used. They can if they want to just push the 8 Hellfire, attack with the weapon, and start setting up lethal. Oh, Shadow Flame with Ancient Watcher off the top. I forgot that second Shadow Flame was tucked there in the corner. That makes it even better.
You don't see double Shadow Flame every day. It's not necessarily you know, an auto include nowadays. It used to be a little bit more common. I feel like you don't see it nearly as much.
Yeah.
The Hellfires still work out very well against something like Paladin. Whereas the Shadow Flames are sometimes very situational. Like, it's hard to get the minions to enable it, especially against an aggressive metagame.
Yeah. And
wow, that'll kill a 6/1. Deal 1 damage.
Yeah.
Let's try. This is not sack backed, however.
Yeah.
Sir.
He's like, wait, guys, I thought we could execute the face.
Yeah. Well, you can execute your own Sylvanas, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Live down.
So that is going to be lethal. And
is there going to be a bit of BM here?
I think maybe they want to just hold on to the fact that they maybe have a Hellfire.
Well, it's too late.
Yeah, I guess so.
they had a chance, though. They could have hidden it.
Yeah.
It could have been hidden.
But Washington State is going to take game number 1 in the series. That was a grueling game. Wow, that felt like it lasted a long time.
Yeah, the green jacket guy just feels like...
He's like, I would have had 4 wins in Arena by now.
Yeah.